It's Monday, August 12th, 2013. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geeknights. Tonight, Scott and Google Glass.
Let's do this.
In front of a live studio audience. We've got some friends over in the other room probably listening to us shout into our microphones with the door open.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how we roll here. So we were at the beach, Wildwood, and I got to say, I've been going to Wildwood, New Jersey, which used to have a pretty great arcade culture. In fact, I think we've talked about this on old Geek Nights. There used to be DDR machines up and down the boardwalk. We would literally spend the morning at the beach and spend the entire evening playing games in arcades. I think I must have dumped hundreds of dollars over the years total into all these things. Police 911, DDR, mostly DDR, sometimes air hockey. And as of last year, there are exactly 0 DDR machines on the boardwalk. In fact, the majority of the arcades...
They don't even have a pump machine anymore.
I know. They don't even have in the groove machines.
They don't have... The only game I saw that was like a real game was that one Time Crisis 3 machine that was for sale.
Yeah, the arcade was trying to sell it.
I guess there was a Ms. Pac-Man, I guess.
Yeah, that Ms. Pac-Man didn't work. I checked it out.
Whoa, that's sad.
Oh, there's also that... the really stylish looking Pac-Man versus game that's actually a shit game.
Oh, Pac-Man Battle Royale?
I feel like the arcade that bought that feels really dumb about buying it.
No, they probably make a bunch of money on it.
I didn't see anyone playing it when
we were
walked
there
by.
for a minute.
Yeah, but
everyone
I'm
was
saying,
playing the Pac-Man with the air hockey Pac-Man with 1,000,000 pucks.
Yeah, 2 little kids were playing that.
Oh, whole family was playing it.
Yeah, that game not so great.
No, but it's
just so sad.
Good on paper.
It's just so sad.
I like Pac-Man and I like air hockey.
But that Pac-Man game is butt.
Yep.
Like the buttest of butt.
Yep.
But yeah, arcades are dead, at least in the US. But we can at least say one thing. We went to arcades in Australia, and they were about at the level of the few remaining arcades in the US that aren't butt. Maybe slightly better because they had Mario Kart, but doesn't count for much because the Mario Kart arcade machine is actually pretty butt.
Yeah. This arcades are pretty much... I mean, the saddest thing about the arcades is really the mobile iPhone game arcade versions. The Temple Run arcade machine.
Oh my God, the
Fruit Ninja arcade machine. It's like that. At least there wasn't an Angry Birds arcade machine.
But especially because you look at this thing and it's clearly just one of those TV touchscreens and an actual regular old computer with a case around it and a dollar thing connected to it.
Yep.
Probably connected into a serial port in the back of said computer.
It's really just a phone with a giant touchscreen and a coin slot.
I might make some money. I'll get some Ouya's and I'll just put those in arcades.
Sure.
Yeah. But I have another problem in my life. I got a Nexus S phone, and it's pretty much... The iPhone is pretty good, but I still think the Nexus S has the best physical form factor of any phone. But
I think the Nokia Lumia, the smaller one, has the best form factor of any phone because it's basically as like an iPod Nano construction.
True.
And it has the best camera also. That's, just fact.
But I got a problem that I'm on Sprint CDMA 4G, but it's WiMAX 4G. My phone does not support LTE.
Sprint is switching to LTE
Sprint
slowly.
has been switching for a long time and has not switched yet.
Not completely.
Basically, there will be a time when my 4G will stop working.
That is true.
And of the phones I can buy, I mean, I own an Nexus 4 for world travel, and I got to tell you, motherfuckers who like your big phones, I cannot sit down with that thing in my pocket.
Yeah, someone finally wrote an article that was like, look, all these big phones, what the fuck? There's basically no small phones that are also top-of-the-line phones. All the small phones are basically gimped in terms of, having the fastest CPUs or the best GPUs or the best screens or whatever.
Now, it seems like
Except
there's
the iPhone.
Consumer sentiment driving it, but it's weird because I think
I think it's more marketing shaping consumer demand.
Oh, you mean like with SUVs?
Yes.
Yeah. But the people who say they prefer big phones and aren't just being facetious to troll me seem to say one of two things. They either say, I want a big screen because I play games and watch movies on it and use it as my primary computer when I'm traveling. Or they say, effectively, I have bad eyesight and I can't see anything on tiny phones.
Go to the eye doctor. If bad eyesight is hindering you in some way, the solution is never to change your technology, like increasing the resolution on your screen to a resolution that is lower than the the native resolution of the display or any, and that is never the right answer. The right answer is always go to the eye doctor. Right? If you are modifying your technological purchasing decisions because of your visual disability, and it's not, there could be a point at which you are like, seriously visually impaired, like you're blind or near blind, and you need like the magnifying thing in front of your monitor.
Well, I get the impression that not a large majority, but a large
or
number.
You need some Braille shit, right?
I think a surprising number of Americans, for whatever reason, have significant uncorrected vision problems.
Yeah, if you have, like there was a guy at RIT who lived on my floor in freshman year, and he was almost blind, right? He basically had a giant magnifying thing in front of his monitor, right? That dude needs technology to help him with his almost blindness. But if you live your daily life and you're not almost blind, you don't have a white stick dragging on the ground, right? The eye doctor is your answer and not the Best Buy.
Well, I do know a lot of people who have moderate myopia or light myopia, but not enough to actually prevent them from living. So as a result, they tend to not get glasses when they're young and get used to the world being just kind of fuzzy. And I think that's a big part of the problem. Because myopia is pretty common. Yep. And I guess I was lucky in the sense that when I was young, I had myopia, but it was just bad enough. So, it wasn't, I could still live my life. But when I first put on a pair of glasses and I could see, it was like seeing through the Matrix. I was like, oh, fuck. And I basically wouldn't take those glasses off again, even though the doctor only told me to wear them like occasionally. I was like, fuck that. I want to see. So guys, get glasses.
That's
or contacts. Correct. Or LASIK.
Get something. That's why do whatever the eye doctor tells you to. All right. Yeah. So news. One of the smartest nerds there is.
Okay.
John Carmack.
Pretty smart guy.
He was at the QuakeCon and he was talking about pretty much everything. But then there was announced he's going over to Oculus, the people with the goggles, and he's going to be the CTO over there. I think he's still doing stuff at id. I don't think he's quitting there.
I got to say, the Oculus Rift isn't really there yet, but in terms of 90s style immersive VR coming back, it is the furthest along of any consumer thing I have ever seen.
Basically, he's winding down his little, space thingy, his armadillo air, whatever, his rockets. Yep. So all the time he was spending on the rockets, he's now going to spend on the Oculus Rift.
I actually suddenly have a lot more interest in the Oculus.
Yeah, the Oculus, basically, I'm still poo-pooing it, but there are so many people going in on it and giving it the thumbs up and, like, lifting it up. It's like, well, maybe, right? It's like I'm still poo-pooing it, but...
I can say one thing, and I did this a couple of times as an experiment, but what I did back when we were playing CS16 is I set my monitor up so it was basically, like, right in front of my eyeball. Like... I couldn't really see anything but the monitor. And then what I did, and I have myopia, so my eye focus is really close. Like it's one kind of nice side effect. So it kind of worked. And then what I did is I put on an eye patch on one of my eyes. And you know what that did? It made everything feel so crazy real in 3D that it was almost disorienting to play Counter-Strike.
Well, I remember the first time I played Descent, one of the first 3D games I played on an old DOS PC back in the 90s, like 97 or 98, whatever. I was getting dizzy because that's a real 3D game. Like you can go in every facing direction.
I'm not disoriented like dizzy, disoriented like it was too real and I would flinch when bumped into things.
Oh, that could happen. I could see that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, and the Oculus is like full HD, right? And I'm pretty sure it's 3D, like, a movie is 3D.
You've never put it on at a con?
I think I put it on at PAX for a few minutes. But yeah, it's 3D, right? Like a movie, which is, that is an advancement, right? Basically the virtual realities of the 90s were just TV screens in your eyeballs that weren't HD and weren't 3D. So it is a significant improvement, but it's still this gigantic thing you put on your face.
I'm fine with that.
It's too big.
Why is it too big? It's smaller than my monitor.
Maybe. But Google Glass obviously weighs nothing on your face.
Yeah, but Google Glass you wear outside. If you wear Oculus Rift outside, you're a moron.
Obviously.
Though, imagine this. I could sit down with just a TV tray.
On an airplane or a train?
Yeah, on an airplane.
Or in the park.
Yeah.
You need power for it. I think it needs to be plugged in, though.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that.
It's not. Yeah, what? You think it's going to just be powered from USB?
It could have a big-ass battery that you're wearing on your face.
Not really.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm still just, I've seen this before. I think this can get to a point to where, like, if they shave, like, a couple inches off the front, and a couple pounds off of it, then it'd be like, holy shit. But
it's not. I think it's there. It's only there right now. It's at the level that the hardcore, like the people who bought the super nice TVs before they were cheaper and a little bit better. Like the people are on the edge of that curve, either because they really care about their PC gaming or they really care about these VR sort of experiences. It's there for them. It's already there. It's only not there for the kind of super mass market for the reasons you said. I have been considering getting one.
Go for it. The other thing about the Oculus is that if you look at the games that are hot right now, it's like, sure, this is great for some Counter-Strike.
I see where you're getting at.
What does this do for you in your League of Legends?
Nothing.
It does but nothing, right? So I think either A, there aren't going to be the games that are with a first-person perspective to support the Oculus, or B, there will suddenly be a bunch of people making more first-person perspective games to support the Oculus.
So two things. One, if you remade TIE Fighter...
Of course.
Where you could look around the cockpit...
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. I would spend all my money. Just take it.
Shut up and take the money.
But two, with a MOBA or a 2D game, a clever person could use it. Imagine this. You put Oculus on, right? It tracks your head movements.
They already have things you can buy that are head trackers that aren't goggles.
Oh, yeah, but I'm saying having the goggles there basically means that you have an infinite canvas to put information and monitors and things around you spatially, to where you look to the left and you've got like all the stats for the game, and you look to the right and you've got your map, and you look to the middle and you've got your guy in the fighting. You look up and you could zoom in and out. You could do cool stuff, but I don't see these games doing those kinds of things because the people who play these games seem to get off
having
on the
one
particular kinds of limitations.
one Oculus Rift can simulate having like 10 monitors.
Yes, you can basically be like, I want a monitor floating right here at this angle.
You can see all. If you're just doing
size.
everyday computing, you can see all your virtual desktops are basically splayed out in different areas. And just look at them.
That's a future. I sit down at my desk and there aren't any monitors.
Yep.
And the real future is I'm wearing Google Glass version 5.0. That's just an overlay.
Here's the thing, right? I think it'd be better to not have this Oculus Rift where the weight is on your head. I think it would be better to have it more like in Ghost in the Shell, where when they sit down in that one room and the basically the eyeball things are attached to the wall or the floor and they just sort of lean into it. More like
but they can't move their head around. You lose that spatial dimension. Ghost in the Shell
they're not playing FPSs. They're computing by looking into
but
right?
the Ghost in the Shell gets into the idea that they're doing that for a different reason. They bring this up several times, at least in Standalone Complex, that they do that just because they're overloading data into the optic nerve, because that area is just the highest resolution interface into a human that is relatively safe.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think there's different cases for it. I think there's the overlay view, and then there's the immersion view. And I think we will need dedicated hardware for that until we have brain interfaces. I guess
I still think it would be nice to go to work and just sort of, sit comfortably in a thing where the thing is in my face.
Well, Scott, imagine this. How many times when we used to do Geeknights, you'd like lay backwards with your eyes closed.
Right.
You could lay
I just don't like the idea of the weight being on my head, neck, right?
Well, in that case, I would want
forward.
it on a boom that I pull down and attach to my face, but still tracks my movement.
That could be cool.
That'd be really cool.
It would just be sort of... that would be clumsy, like having the freaking racing seat in your house, for the racing games.
But for someone like us, where this shit matters and is a central part of our life, I want the Darth Vader pod anyway. I just want to be in the Darth Vader pod. I pull my helmet down, I stick my hand in,
and the whole thing seals you in.
Yeah, and I move everything. I'm just moving my arms and hands around, and everything's haptic and visual and immersive.
You know what Darth Vader does in there? It ain't what you think. It ain't what it's not what you're describing, though. He is moving his arms around.
I know, but I'm saying I want the equivalent of that, and I'd be fine with that. I'd be fine.
Where are you going to put that in your tiny apartment?
I would fill this room with it.
Great.
And and it wouldn't matter if you're physically next to me anymore. You can sit in the other room.
It already doesn't matter if I'm not physically next to you anymore.
Exactly. So I just run an XLR
Why do
cable.
I even come here? Let's just Skype from now on.
Because Skype has shit audio quality.
Okay.
So very briefly, I want to point out a couple of little things. One, the Department of Transportation in the U.S. is actually doing something really cool.
So the federal DOT?
Yes, in the U.S. And I highly recommend all of you pay attention to this, because this is going to come sooner than you realize. And everyone who says privacy stuff, shut up. As much as I care about the NSA stuff, this stuff is separate in the sense that we need this regardless of if we fix the NSA stuff. They want to standardize in the nation the way that cars communicate with each other and with the road.
I agree.
Case in point, imagine if all the cars on the road were constantly generating telemetry data and traffic data and automatically updating a standard interface for GPS direction navigation things to reroute cars if there's a problem. So if there's an accident, cars immediately are rerouted to alternate roads.
This is your favorite thing, fixed protocol for cars.
Exactly. Yeah, 39 equals 3. So the other news I like to talk about is that there's been a rash of dark mail or silent mail or secure email services going down. Either because of secret government bullshit that they can't talk about, and while I think these people should fight to the end.
So far I saw one.
So another one shut down. They didn't say if it was because of the government.
Two, it's a rash.
Yes, I think there's going to be more. I think what's going on
I think you're going to see
here,
more spring up than shut down.
True, but the ones that spring up have to be technologically secure, not reliant upon central servers.
Mega's doing one, and Mega has kept Mega up, so there you go.
I guess I bring this up only because those of you who are worried about privacy and all these issues, these are two little data points you can use to argue with other people as to why this NSA stuff is kind of toxic. Because if the government can tell someone to shut down something that has perfectly legitimate uses because someone might use it for nefarious purposes, and simultaneously that person's not allowed to even talk about what happened, and we don't even know if they fight it or not, I can't really fault the person for not fighting it because that's kind of like going up against the Stasi. Like, yeah,
there is
you
a
can go
guy
up
who's
against
fighting
him.
it. He just can't talk about it.
Yeah. But how do you know if he fought it then?
He's saying he fought it.
Yeah, not
He's
everyone's saying they
something
fought it.
happened I can't talk about, but I'm fighting it.
And things of the day. I'll let you guys know right now. You might have heard some clicking for the last few minutes. The mixer, the Geeknights mixer, might have just died.
You don't hear any clicking right now?
There's no more clicking. So we have plugged directly into my Fire Studio interface for the time being, and we'll see if the audio sounds different because I'm going to have to master everything very differently now. And yeah, might have to buy a new mixer.
We'll see what happens there. Maybe we should kickstart it.
Yeah.
Okay. So, thing of the day. We've been waiting a long time, but finally, it's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
The English version of Hatsune Miku V3 English using Vocaloid 3 is now slated to be available for download on August 31st, 2013.
I'm actually kind of excited about this.
The bundle with Vocal Editor Pia Pro Studio VSTI and PreSonus Studio One Artist Pia Pro Edition and over 200 virtual instruments, hopefully including the Swan, for immediate music production goes for $150
That's basically zero for software like that.
for basically software that allow you to make all the musics. I don't know how to make the musics. I don't have the music skills. My music skills are very low. I mean, they're higher than, zero, but because I did a lot of musics when I was in elementary, middle, high schools. But I haven't done any really since then, unless you count like Guitar Hero or DDR. So my music skills are pretty low. So I feel like if I bought it for $150, it would be sort of like, oh, not using it for anything. What a waste of money that was.
I could buy it, but I don't have a good project for it. I haven't written music in a long time. And yes, I could transcribe existing popular songs and do what everyone else is going to do with it.
But I still feel like I should buy it anyway.
You know what we could do? We could use it cleverly in Geeknights, maybe.
Yeah, I'll make the new Geeknights theme song. Miku will sing it for us.
Yeah, we'll use it as... we could use it to add a third host.
But anyway, there's some demo videos here on YouTube. You can hear what it sounds like.
You know what we could use it for? Sounds kind of dumb. We could have it every time we want to quote something from an article, just have Miku sing it on the show instead. That might be really annoying really quickly.
We'll see. But yeah, awesomeness times a million.
All right, so this is a cool and creepy art installation. Someone took not one, not two,
Daddy 3PP,
but a matrix of 3 by, I got to expand this window to see how big it is, 3 by 5 Teddy Ruxpins.
15 Teddy Ruxpins.
And made an art installation where they just kind of say creepy stuff.
Well, isn't he just a cassette player?
Well,
so it's basically you're hanging a teddy bear shaped cassette player on the wall, 15 of them, and having them play a cassette tape.
So Teddy Ruxpin did more than just play tapes. Teddy Ruxpin on one of the audio channels had someone telling a story. and on the other audio channel had command and control for moving his eyes, moving his mouth, or making another accessory, another guy you could get that would connect to him, also move around and do stuff.
So basically, it had stereo audio, but a mono speaker, and the right or the left would have the
when I was
what
a kid,
he was saying, and it would just play it over the one speaker, and the other.
If you played the
channel,
other side, it would play this kind of like buzzing noise.
Yeah, the other channel would just sort of, play data that would make him move.
Exactly. I bring it up, one, because it's kind of cool, and two, people are really into like chip bending or all these sort of, cool things lately.
The thing is, you wouldn't even need a cassette tape. You'd be better off with sticking an Arduino inside
That
him.
appears to be what they did here.
Oh, okay. And just controlling him directly without shitty cassette tapes.
Exactly.
And then playing one audio track on speakers nearby with an MP3 or something.
Yeah. I bring this up only because it's kind of a cool way to use an old technology, and two, whether or not you know or care who Teddy Ruxpin is, I think says a lot about what year you were born.
I should do the same thing with fucking Glowworms.
Glowworm and Teddy Ruxpin together. You got to get every...
Glowworm is my boy.
Really?
Yeah.
You and Glowworm?
You don't like Glowworm?
I never liked Glowworm.
Glowworm is the best.
I was never a fan of Glowworm. I might have been a fan of Glowworm in my pre-sentient
I had this
days.
awesome toy where there was basically a board with all these holes in it, and you had a pen, and the pen had a glowworm on top, and you would put the pen in the holes, and if you put it in the right hole, the glowworm would light up.
So yeah, but also you could just put other cassettes in Teddy Ruxpin, and he would just kind of play them,
But he wouldn't move.
wouldn't really move.
No.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that's all I got.
He was just a cassette player.
Basically.
All right, time for the meta moment.
The book club book is Stasi Land. I'm mostly done with it. It's pretty good, pretty relevant. NSA, scary spy shit.
PAX Prime is real soon, the end of the month.
We are presenting on Monday at noon in the Wolfman Theater. Bad Games.
Oh, shit. That's the last day of PAX. So basically,
Yeah.
we're going to enjoy a bunch of PAX, and then sort of on this last lazy day before the Omegathon finale, we're going to do a panel.
Sounds good. Watch our videos on the internet. We've already uploaded 2 videos from PAX Australia. Several more are coming. Follow us on YouTube. My YouTube channel, Scott's YouTube channel.
Yeah, we have a lot of things on the internet, and you should go look at them if you enjoyed this show. They are easy for you to find, including one of them that is often forgotten, our email newsletter, which has content that isn't really in other things because I write a lot of stuff in there, such as a Q&A. That's basically where our Q&A section is gone. So if you want to ask us something and us to answer it, that's really all in the newsletter now. So email us, geeknights@frontrecruit.com, and then look for another newsletter soon. I'll mail one probably this month before PAX happens, and you might be answered in there.
Yeah. Indeed.
All right. That's the end of Meta Moment.
So, Scott got Google Glass.
I did.
I don't yet, mostly
Nope.
because I would really like to get the one where I can put prescription glasses in it,
Yep.
and that's not available yet,
Nope.
so I gotta wait.
Well, actually, it comes with the shields and shades is what they call it. It's basically sunglasses and also a clear glass that you can use just to protect your eyes if you're, say, biking and in the night or something. And they just sort of snap in between the nose thingies.
Yep, now I
So
could
with
get
your
someone...
pile of money, you could get someone to make you prescription glasses that have like that little connector thingy that would go in where the shades and shields go.
Now, that is true, but that would be more money than I'm willing to pay, especially
You're
because...
already spending $1,500 in the Google
Yes,
Glass.
there are pretty good rumors that it'll be available more generally with the prescription glass option just kind of working. Not that too far out from
Yeah, the
now.
rumor that's going around now is that it'll be available by the end of the year for $300. And you know what? That's kind of annoying because I just spent $1,500. I spent 5 times that, right?
Is that not the early adopter tax?
Yeah, but I mean that's a huge early adopter tax. If it was like, oh, I paid $500 and they paid $300, or even if I paid $700,
I don't
and
think
they
the
paid
$300 is a legitimate rumor.
Even if it is, I would be okay with it because basically, if you look at the updates that Google Glass gets, they're all labeled as like, let me look for a second. I'm loading it up.
like Explorer or
it's
something.
I'm currently running XE8, which is Explorer Edition 8, right? So if I continue to get Explorer Edition updates and everyone else gets sort of like less updates, then it's like, oh, okay, I get it. I'm an Explorer Edition. I'm like basically in the beta. I always get, the sort of like if you pay $100 to Apple to be a developer, you keep getting more. You get, you were using iOS, whatever it is right now, the new version, because you have to make apps for it before it comes out. So you get the new version early when it's beta. That would be okay. That would be, I spent more money on it and I'm basically ahead of the curve on my Google Glass. that is something I would not be upset if they came out with $300 Google Glass. Also, you got to consider, those shades and shields came in a separate thing. They're going to charge extra for that shit. I basically got the full set, like a fully loaded car. I think if you buy Google Glass at retail, all that other stuff is going to be like add-ons that cost more money. The only thing that was actually in the package with the Google Glass was like the carrying case and a USB cable and not much else, right? Yeah, that's pretty much all you got. So everything else that you would want for Google Glass is going to be probably separate monies. So if even if it is $300, if they charge like $50 each shades and shields, it's really $400. So plus they could charge a lot more for that. Sunglasses are expensive,
Yeah.
They could charge $100 each for those. Who knows what they're gonna do?
So it's hard to say what'll happen with that. I'm just gonna wait. I'm in no rush right now. Well, I'm in a rush, but I'm not in that much of a rush.
All right. So a lot of people, now that I have the Google Glass and I've been using it for a week. Right?
Yep.
I got it last Wednesday, I think. Yeah, last Wednesday. We can pretty much talk about it. A lot of people really don't understand what it currently is, what it is capable of, what it does, because they haven't had it. They haven't really read tech articles that really describe it. Even those articles don't really, fully explain it properly.
Guys, it's not an augmented reality overlay.
Obviously. Right. So here's what Google Glass is. So it weighs about as much as glasses, right? It's not really bothersome to wear. And what it does is it basically puts a little tiny screen up in the top right corner of your vision, right? It's in your peripheral vision, not in your main vision. And most of the time, it's just off. And when it's off, basically, in your peripheral vision is a little blurry spot where the piece of glass is. And that's all it does. And only when you turn it on, which I just did.
Observations from someone around someone with a Google Glass. You will see Google Glass people periodically just jerking their neck back like, whoop.
Yeah, there are two ways to turn it on. One way to turn it on is to jerk your neck backwards to look up at the sky, and you can set the angle of sort of attack. So I left mine to the default of 30 degrees. I tried lowering it because it wasn't working, but then that was too much. I put it at 20. That wasn't good, so I put it back at 30, and it's okay. And basically, I tilt my head back 30 degrees, and it turns on, right? And I can now see, basically, a clock.
Great.
It's 6:29.
That was worth it. That is 6:29.
Right,
That is correct. You have a very expensive pocket watch.
It is one thing Google Glass is a watch. If you have a watch and you have Google Glass, you don't need it. And it prevents you from, A, having anything on your wrist. Instead, you have something on your head.
But you have a Pebble on your wrist.
I don't have it on now.
Oh.
The Pebble watch is completely unnecessary if you have Google Glass.
I'll buy it from you for $1.
No,
$2.
they're
$2.50.
No, they're mutually exclusive devices, right? And two, you don't need to take your phone out of your pocket. Okay, so it's a wristwatch. That's one thing it is, right? And all it's this little tiny rectangular screen. So it's sort of like, how you have a second monitor on your computer? It's like having a second monitor on your phone, but it's just always there. You don't have to pull your phone out of your pocket and look away, right? It's just there. The other way to turn it on is to tap the side of it. The front right side of it is basically this touch screen. It's not a touch screen, it's a touch pad. And it's sort of a long stick-shaped touch pad. And it only really has 4 different things you can do. You can swipe forward, swipe back, right? And that basically scrolls left and right or up and down. You can swipe downwards, which is sort of like quickly. And that is sort of like dismiss, which is like pushing the home button on your iPhone, right? So like go back, or turn off. And then you can also tap it, and that's like clicking, like select that option that I just looked at. Select that option, right? And that's what that's all about. There's some apps where you do a 2-finger scroll, like the web browser. That's pretty rare, though. It's mostly just the 1-finger, swipe forward, swipe back, down, and tap. Okay.
So what do you use it for right now?
Right now, this is the sad part of Google Glass. I can't use it for all that much because, A, it doesn't support Google Apps. It only supports regular Gmail. So if your Gmail account is at gmail.com, then you're all set with Google Glass. You can use your Google Plus and all that stuff. I have to turn the Google Plus off. I don't have to, but if I Google Plussed and hung out and did all that stuff with my Google Glass, it would be hanging out with my at gmail.com account or posting to my G Plus on my at gmail.com account. I'm not
Google.
I don't have anyone in my circles on my at gmail.com account.
Google. Moses.
They always fuck the people using Google Apps.
Guys,
they should
Google Glass. we who use Google Apps are your hardest core users.
Yeah, you should give the hardest core people the shit first, not after everyone else.
Or in the very least, make it to where the apps people can enable that stuff if they want to, even if it's off by default.
There is an option in Google Apps to be like, give me the beta shit. If someone checked that box, give them the beta shit.
Yeah, I mean, I know for a fact a lot of nerds like us use Google Apps because we have a real domain, but we really like Google
The only reason
products.
I use it is because I want my email address to not be @gmail.com.
But I want to use all of Google services.
I want every Gmail, Google service there is possible.
I have basically doubled down on Google. I use Google for pretty much everything I do on the internet except storing and sharing pictures.
Yep. But yeah,
Because the cost sucks.
because I'm use an apps account and I can't link that to my Google Glass, I can't do the Hangouts and I can't do that. What the Hangouts do is basically it's Hangout. And you can even do a video Hangout where they see what you see, right? And you can do an audio Hangout where because there's a microphone. When you talk, it hears you. And you can, I guess, do maybe a text Hangout. I'm not sure if it does speech to text for a text Hangout. But yeah, you can hang out with it if you have that enabled. And you can share things to G+ with it.
So one thing I noticed, you seem to be taking a lot of candid photographs that you wouldn't have otherwise taken because you always just kind of have it on.
Yeah, that is the one thing that I really do with it a lot is because it's not hooked up to my G+, and because I turned off the Twitter app even, because the Twitter app is really annoying. It keeps showing you all these tweets, and it seemed to have randomly selected like 4 people I was following and showed me all their tweets all the time and kept even beeping and saying, hey, tweet, someone tweeted. But it didn't show me all my tweets. It just chose some people. And I'm like, why did you choose those people? And stop bothering me with these tweets. I just want to be able to tweet. I don't want to see tweets in my Google Glass. That's annoying as hell. So I turned off Twitter. So what I did is I made a Tumblr because it also works with Tumblr. So I made a Tumblr just for Google Glass, and I said, I will share all the things from my Glass to this Tumblr.
Now, you could make that Tumblr auto-tweet.
And then I used IFTTT to make the Tumblr auto-tweet.
Tumblr auto-tweets on its own.
Oh, well, I used IFTTT. Maybe I'll go back and
You can just do it in Tumblr.
I'll just turn that off and do it in Tumblr.
Haven't you noticed how every morning at the exact same time, I make a single tweet that is just whatever I had
thought you
on
might have
Tumblr?
been using IFTTT.
Nope, I actually don't have an account on IFTTT anymore because once they got rid of the other direction interface with
For
Twitter,
yeah,
I stopped using
that was
it.
the most useful thing they had.
All I used IFTTT
But that was
for
Twitter's fault for removing that.
was I would take everything anyone ever tweeted at me, and if it had a link in it, I made myself a feed of those links in Delicious.
Yep.
And that was super useful.
But anyway, so yeah, taking photos, it is a camera, obviously, Google Glass, right? And there's 2 ways to take photos is you can, when you turn it on, you can say, okay, Glass, and that brings up the voice-activated menu, which works great. And that's good if you're carrying stuff. But there's also just a button you can press. There's a button on top of it, and you press the button, it takes a photo. If you hold the button, it takes a video. And I just use the button a lot. And you don't have to take your phone out of your pocket, right? Because think about it. If you see something, and it's like, for example, I was walking down the street, and there was a Maserati. I had to take my phone out of my pocket, aim it at the thing. By that time, it's gone, right? But instead, I just go, boop, got it. Boop, got it. So even though the pictures are kind of shitty, you can get a lot of pictures of stuff like that you wouldn't normally get just because the camera is always out already.
Scott got this great picture of me looking really sad playing Hanabi at the shore.
That was a sad game of Hanabi.
It was the saddest.
Yeah. So I tend to, I'm like, hey, this is I'll just take pictures of pretty much every sort of moderately interesting, moment and tumble them into this Tumblr and see what that's all about. The way the videos work is you basically, if you tell it to take a video, it starts taking a video, and then it goes for 10 seconds, then it stops. And then you can send the video. There's no YouTube at all, which is annoying. It only goes to like G+ and stuff like that. But if you tell it to, if you tap it while it's videoing, the video limit will be removed, and it'll video forever until you stop it or the battery runs out. The battery has been lasting pretty good. I'm basically charging it the same times that I would charge my phone. When I'm at work, I don't put it on. I'm not sitting at my desk wearing it. That's pointless, right?
See, I plan to wear it all the time because I wear glasses all
I
the
wear
time.
it pretty much when I get up from my desk or when I'm walking around town or, pretty much all those times. But I don't wear it in the shower or, when I'm sitting at my desk and there's a computer in front of me, there's no point in wearing the Google Glass with its current functionality. There could be functionality for it that would enhance your sitting at the computer experience, but none of that exists. Maybe I'll make some.
We need, we've always, whenever a thing came out, we're like, oh, we should write some apps. We need to be the ones to write glass apps because what I see people
I'm going to be
working on-
writing some soon.
What I see people working on or saying they want now is all bullshit.
Yeah.
I know what to do for glass. I've been thinking about this for most of my life.
Exactly. I only wear it I don't wear it sitting at my desk, so it's charging. So it, between the morning and the afternoon, it's like it doesn't really die. But the battery does not last long. If you heavily use it, I'm sure at PAX, it's gonna die. It's not gonna make it to the end
It charges
of the day
with
at PAX.
micro USB, right?
It's micro USB, the same as the Kindle.
Could you just wear an energy around your neck and have it plugged in all the time?
You could put an energy in your pocket and have a cable going all the way up to the side of your head, and yes, that would work.
I think one of the first things I'll do when I get it is try to rig something like that up that isn't annoying.
If you just get a long micro USB cable, put the energy in your pocket, and if the cable's long enough,
No, if I just no, that wouldn't work. Because if you just did that, where is the
cable would
interface?
be no more annoying than a headphone cable that goes to your pocket, your phone with your pocket.
Would it stick out the bottom of glass or the side?
Let me look.
Because if it sticks out the side, that's no good because it would put
It sticks out the bottom, right,
Okay,
right next to
that's
your
fine.
ear. So basically, it would be like having one headphone cable just go past your ear, right? Go
Okay.
down into your pocket.
Because a lot of people make the mistake of plugging USB cables into things where there will be rotational force from the weight of the cable that's going to ruin whatever the device is.
Yeah, no, it goes straight into the bottom. So it's all good in that respect. Let's see, what else is there to say about glass? Oh, so some of the apps that exist for it, right? So you can get Google Now on it, and the Google Now, it works for me, right? But the problem is that, again, it's using this other Google account. So the Google Now doesn't have enough information about me to really do its full
my
business.
Google Now is like the best. At
Right,
this
so
point.
basically, you would love it because you're basically your Google. Oh, but your Google Now is attached to your apps account. Yeah, but basically, it's your Google Now, so it does all that stuff. Mostly, what the Google Now does for me is weather. It gives me the weather, and it always tells me what restaurants are nearby. So I can just be like, boop, and there's the nearby restaurants with their ratings, and I can just call them. Right?
I have a feeling if I have glass, I'll use Now a lot more because I only use Now when I pull out my phone and think,
Yeah.
I'm going to look at my phone.
Google Now is basically incredible with Google Glass. I just don't have it really using its full potential because it doesn't have enough data about me because it's using the wrong Gmail account. The other real thing that people don't understand about Google Glass is that other than being a wristwatch, Pebble Watch replacement in that notifications come to your face, and you don't have to take your phone out of your pocket, and you can see the time without taking your phone out of your pocket, it is also a Bluetooth headset on crack. Right?
Oh, it's got that bone microphone.
Well, so the bone microphone is interesting because it's kind of incredible how there's nothing in your ear, but you can hear these noises it makes. But it can really only do beeps and bloops. It's really shitty at doing voice or music. Basically awful at doing voice or music. I tried to make a phone call with it, and it's like, right? I could tell what they were saying, but no, don't use it for phone calls. But it is a Bluetooth headset. So someone calls you, you see who's calling you in your eyeball, right? You tap to pick up, then you just talk because it has a microphone in it and it has the bone speaker, right? So there you go, right? It can even do video calls and all kinds of, So you see that guy walking around with a Bluetooth headset? You don't really see that guy anymore. But Google Glass is that. It's pretty much the best one there is on Earth.
So the other thing that you haven't pointed out, because you have an iPhone, you don't have access to everything.
Yeah, that's true, right? So there are some things that Google Glass does that I can't do because I have an iPhone. For example,
isn't it GPS and accelerometer data?
I don't know. You might be able to. I don't know anything about accelerometer data.
That's what I read when I was reading the API
But the
docs.
GPS, in the menu, it says get directions, and then whenever I choose that, let me actually choose it right now. Okay, get directions. So I chose get directions. Directions not available. Connect to My Glass for Android for GPS service. So basically, if you have an Android phone, you run this My Glass app on your Android phone, right? The Google Glass connects to it. The Android phone does all the GPS work and sends the data of what to tell you to the glass, and then the glass tells you, turn left, turn right, whatever. So I don't know. I'm sure it works great. I just can't use it because I have an iPhone and I don't have an Android phone.
Doesn't the glass also have to tether via Wi-Fi?
Okay, so Google Glass has Wi-Fi in it, and it will always use Wi-Fi if it can find a Wi-Fi. And the way you add Wi-Fis to it is pretty clever. It'll always try to use an open Wi-Fi if it can, right? But if it can't, then what you do is you go to the My Glass app which works on mobile or the website basically, right? And you type in the Wi-Fi credentials, and then it shows a QR code, and you look at it, and it sends the Wi-Fi credentials into the Google Glass via QR code. And then the Google Glass will now try to connect to that Wi-Fi. So it's on Wi-Fi right now in your house. So it is a standalone device. It gets its internet from Wi-Fi wherever you are. But you really need to have a phone to go with it, because otherwise the Bluetooth headset part of it is useless, obviously, right? For making calls and doing all that sort of stuff. And B, you want to tether it to your phone so that you can have data anywhere. Otherwise, having it only do its thing when there's Wi-Fi nearby, it's rarely going to do its thing. It'll basically be turned into a useless wristwatch.
If you want to try out the directions sometime, just borrow my Nexus 4. I mean, the GPS data works even without a data connection.
Install the My Glass app on there.
I will.
Okay. What else? Oh, you add contacts to it. So you can add basically 10 contacts to speed dial. And those are if you called me, I would see your face in the thingy because I added you as one of the 10 speed dial people, right? See what other things are on here. There's an Evernote integration, which I haven't used because I don't use Evernote. There's a New York Times thing, which supposedly will tell you, like, when, there's a news alert, it'll be like, oh my God, crazy news just happened.
You know what? I have that. It's called Twitter.
Yeah. Path, I don't know what app that is. I haven't used it. CNN, similar to New York Times. Facebook, I have that enabled, but all it really does is let you post to Facebook. It doesn't actually give you anything from Facebook.
Now this is where really we have to write some apps, because what this hardware actually is and what it does, I want an app that will show me slides and speaking notes and help me control a speech I'm giving.
Yeah, you can do that.
Yes, with
Definitely
a Google Apps integration.
Definitely is capable of doing that.
Yep.
That is 100% a thing this can do, right?
That is thing one I wanted to do. Thing two I wanted to do is GPS directions while I'm biking.
Thing one I want to do is show me the date in addition to the time on the main screen. It just shows you the time. It doesn't show you the date. It's like, what the fuck? I want to know what today's date is.
When the batteries get better, or if I do rig up something cool with an energy battery to keep it going all the time, I would like to make an app, because there's a ton of dash cam apps now for Android that do a really good job of constantly recording like 10 minutes of video and cycling it, but then you can hit a button and it's like, oh fuck, and it keeps everything. It's the someone attacked me, I want all the police data app. I feel like you can make a really good app for glass, but the battery would be the
battery will kill
restriction.
you. People seem to think that like this glass it can like camera all the time, like you're videoing your life, like the same way if you were wearing like a GoPro on your face.
No, if you want to do that, buy a GoPro.
It's like, the battery will die in like 20 minutes if you keep the video running, right? It is useless if you think you're going to video your life with this thing. Don't even begin to think that's a remote possibility. Forget it. Videoing for long periods of time, no, cannot do.
Now, what you
can
could
make
do
vines with it.
With an app, you could do something clever where you have it wake up and automatically take a picture every 5 minutes.
Even that would basically have the battery life throughout the day.
Oh yeah, but if I'm gonna rig up my energy thing. In fact, I'll rig up an energy thing and maybe I'll get someone else to kickstart a battery pack.
The only reason the Google Glass battery lasts as long as it does is because it always errs on the side of turning off, right? Their philosophy at Google is, don't turn it on. It should be sort of like an enhancement. It should never bother you, right? Even if you have the Gmail enabled, which I don't because it's, again, not using Google Apps, it will actually only tell you if you've got mail if Gmail considers it an important email. So you have to really pay attention to that, that feature in Gmail where the important and not important emails. You really have to train your Gmail saying this message is important, this one's not. This one's important, this one's not, so that it gets it right. And Google Glass will only wake up and tell you if it was an important email. It'll show you what it was. And when it shows you something, it turns off right away. Like when I turn it on to see the clock, it turns off in like a couple seconds. This thing just really loves to. It doesn't turn off fully, obviously, but it loves to go to sleep. Like imagine if you turn your iPhone.
It's just like me then.
Yeah, it's like on, off, off, off. It just doesn't want to stay on.
Well, remember, and what have we been saying since 2005 when we started doing Geeknights publicly? The biggest thing holding back all the cool things we want to do with technology is consumer battery technology.
Yep.
And that stuff really has not progressed much in recent times because it can't. If it progresses, then we make tiny grenades.
And it would also be really heavy on the side of your head. Right? The Google Glass is actually quite comfortable. I'm definitely used to it by now.
We need local wireless power distribution coupled with like in the smaller your back, you just carry a fucking battery.
Whatever it's going to be.
Yeah.
You go for it.
All right. I feel like we can wrap that up for now.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like other things.
We're going to talk about it probably off and on in our Monday shows for a while now because Scott's going to keep using it. I've been playing with the APIs. Once I have Glass, I'm going to write some fucking apps faster than you can blink. Because the Python APIs have really good examples and it's really easy to write stuff.
Let's see.
And I'm not going to write anything that requires a lot of complex software design. I'm writing things that are like, show me the slides.
Yeah. Trying to think, is there anything else I can say about it? Is it worth the monies? Well, maybe.
You know what? It'll be worth the money for me. Maybe Scott, if you write an app or two, and it doesn't cost $300 a month from now. If it costs like $800 a month from now, or there's something that makes the Explorer Edition different, like what I could see, I'm guessing here, totally shooting from the hip, that they'll have Consumer Glass and Explorer Glass with different update patterns or different things.
Who knows? It's possible. Whatever.
We'll
It would be nice if they did something. You know, I mean, there are some other benefits of the Explorer. Like, I got an email that was like, private party at the Explorer place in New York City, the place you picked up your Google Glass on the same day as PAX.
Great, guys. Thanks.
Come on over and hang out with the other Glass Explorers.
Can't figure out the high correlation rate between people who care about Glass and people who care about PAX.
Yeah. New York. Yeah.
All right. I kind of want to go hang out with the studio audience for a bit, so I think we're done here for now.
Yeah.
Also, I don't want to do too much more audio because now that I'm recording raw audio, I've been fucking with the levels the whole time because this was, on the fly. I got to master this goddamn thing tonight now.
Yep. So we're not going to talk more about Glass now, but maybe more later.
We'll talk about it when we've written some apps or I get it or as Scott discovers things about it.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to see a lot of pictures of me probably.
Maybe.
This has been Geeknights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music, Kat Lee for web design, and Brando K for the logos.
Be sure to visit our website at frontrowcrew.com for show notes, discussion, news, and more.
Remember, Geeknights is not one, but 4 different shows. Sci-Tech Mondays, Gaming Tuesdays, Anime Comic Wednesdays, and Indiscriminate Thursdays.
Geeknights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Geeknights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.